According to local folklore, the medieval town of Dunwich disappeared in a single night. A massive wave supposedly dragged the entire settlement into the ocean, leaving only the sound of drowned church bells ringing beneath the tide. The historical record shows a much slower, calculated demise. The sea dismantled Dunwich over hundreds of years, carefully starving its economy. A city is only as permanent as the money that sustains it. Look at the quiet Suffolk coast today, and it is hard to picture a booming 11th century maritime hub. But Dunwich operated as a major crusader port, a naval base, and a center of international trade. This is a page from the 1086 Doomsday Book, recording the demographic data of the era. The meticulous Latin text documents nearly 500 households here, placing Dunwich in the top 20% of all recorded English settlements. By the early 1200s, its footprint rivaled the physical size of London, supporting 19 churches, religious hospitals, and an active mint. The citizens knew the cliffs were unstable. They had already lost 100 acres of land to the sea by the 11th century, yet they stayed because the harbor generated enough wealth to make the physical erosion acceptable. Constant trade meant constant capital. As long as the ships arrived, the town could afford to move buildings and rebuild streets faster than the ocean could claim them. When severe storms battered the coast in the late 1280s, Dunwich proved its resilience. Residents physically dismantled enormous stone structures like the Greyfriars Monastery and rebuilt them safely inland. Then the storm of 1328 hit. The surge bypassed the architecture and targeted the infrastructure. Tons of muddy water deposited heavy banks of sand directly into the river mouth, choking the harbor shut. This animated diagram maps the immediate economic chain reaction. With the entrance sealed, cargo ships physically could not enter. Commercial traffic was forced to deflect to competing coastal towns. Without the harbor, Dunwich went from physically damaged to financially obsolete. The merchant class faced an immediate crisis: wait for a dredging project that might never happen, or relocate their operations to avoid total bankruptcy. They chose to leave. Their departure stripped the town of its tax base. Local officials suddenly lacked the capital required to hire labor and fortify the cliffs against the next tide. Over the following centuries, the remaining population initiated a brutal managed decline. Before the sea could reach their buildings, locals tore down their own churches to extract the valuable lead and salvageable stone. The residents became the agents of their own city's erasure, forced to liquidate the architecture to survive the financial fallout. The erosion continued unopposed. By the 1500s, the sea consumed the central market square, erasing the geographic core of the town. This dual-axis timeline graph reveals the bizarre political aftermath. While the physical landmass drops towards zero, the study line shows Dunwich retaining its right to send 2 members to Parliament, completely uninterrupted, until 1832. It operated as a notorious rotten borough. The national laws governing political representation completely failed to recognize that the thriving population center they were protecting had ceased to exist. Political prestige acts like a phantom limb, lingering on paper long after the economic body has vanished. The final physical erasure of medieval Dunwich was so slow it bled into the age of modern photography. The last surviving medieval structure, All Saints' Church, sat abandoned near the cliff edge until its tower collapsed onto the beach between 1904 and 1919. Today, the former megaport is a quiet stretch of marshland. It houses about 120 people, a pub, and a small museum cataloging its own absence. Erasing a major city does not require a mythical tidal wave. You only have to sever the economic arteries and wait.